Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sadashiva Samarambam, Shankaracharya Madhyamam, Asmadacharya Paryandam, Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Saganavavadu, Saganaupunaktu, Sakaviryam Karavavagai, Tejasvina Vadida Mustama Vishabhagai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnana Pratam Guru Mukshunam Hidarthaya Tattva Bodha Abhidiyate. Namaskaram. So today we are going to a new section or a new heading, new title. In fact, this is where we are entering into the most profound Advaitic core. So we have to just have a recap so that we understand where we are right now. There are a couple of questions came, and they are from people who are not even in the class. What I would request is that this is not a discourse by itself, meaning that it doesn't give you a complete beginning to end in one session. This being a class, which means we are building a topic in a very planned way. So if you do not have a continuous understanding of what we are discussing, then it may be difficult to answer that very clearly, unless you're pointing out to you that go back and look at it. I know it's difficult to go through these YouTube videos or recordings because, for me, recording is always like a book. It is there for you to see it. Therefore, it comes with a token of lethargy because it's always there. We can always see it, so we don't see it. So it is always better to, if possible, to attend the classes. Anything like upavasam, upatesham. Upa means to be near in space and time. I know the COVID is causing us not to be physically together. We are remotely, that's fine. But at least time can be together. More than reading a book or listening to a recording, when you are in the presence of a discussion, when you're preparing for it, the mind also tunes it, because I'm not laboring the point to sell this class, but I'm trying to make sure that you understand when you attend the same time, listen at the same time, without you knowing, without you putting effort, your sensory perceptive organs, your mind, your yearnings actually expands. Therefore, your understanding is very different. So try to follow it. Otherwise, of course, we can go through it, and I will have a session. I'm sure you'll have more questions. You must have questions, because unless we are really blessed and this doesn't really go straight into this head, because we are going to get into more subtle discussions. We may have very predefined notion as well. So it'll be very challenging. So let's see. But I'm going to really give a recap. I think it's always better to have a recap so that even if you miss the classes, I'm sure we can start now. So no problem. So Mumukshunam Hidarthaya Tattva Bodha Abhidiyate. We are in Tattva Bodha for the Mumukshu, the one who's seeking for liberation, freedom. We equated that to fulfillment, because, we always seek happiness. Do you ever go to the doctor and say, look, I got a problem. I somehow always feel happy. Something wrong with me. You never say that. But when there's a trouble, even a little bit of headache, you're worried about it. Why is that? Why is that we always seek happiness? Why don't we seek sadness, grief? This question we never ask, right? And nobody tells us why we seek happiness. But they teach you where to find happiness. The whole life is about seeking happiness. Therefore, we go from like a bee from one flower to other. We seek every object up. So we keep on going there. So there comes a point in time that you may raise these questions. That is where the Vedanta makes sense to us. So we need to really know, why am I seeking happiness? The answer is, as you saw, it's because it is your nature. It is our nature. Where you are comfortable is that, like, wherever you go, whichever 5-star hotels you stay, when you come back to your bed, your own pillows, when you lie down, you feel happiness, right? Same way, the absolute bliss is when you are yourself, your absolute nature. And therefore, the deduction is, therefore, if all of us are seeking happiness, fulfillment, and peace, that must be our nature. It's very logical, right? So therefore, Vedanta gets your attention that the thing that you are seeking, the happiness, is your very nature. The moment you appreciate that, you take a pause. Then why am I struggling around, going around, earning money? Of course, you must earn money for survival, not for that happiness. Therefore, your whole orientation changes to understanding your own nature. That's what Vedanta is doing. But then you ask the question, right? I can't understand my nature. Nobody taught me, no schools taught me to read about myself. From day one, I've been asked to see at the sky, at people, at things. I'm object-oriented. So can I not look at the objects and learn about myself? Yes, you can do. That gives a double benefit to the world, because this kind of people are very small percentage. People seek happiness in oneself. They're very elite and evolved individuals, less than 1% of the population in the world. So the Vedanta uses them to create goodness in them and goodness in the world. So it tells them, yes, you can seek happiness in the world because your motivation is to seek yourself. Therefore, you deal with the world dispassionately. Do karma yoga. So you continue to do what you do with a different bhava, different perspective. That way you help the world, things get done, but you also gain your internal orientation, chitta shuddhi. That's why we talked about the karma yoga. Veda talks about the karma yoga, your duty first, as a grahastha, as a brahmachari, as a vanaprastha, as a sannyasi. The dharma has to be done. So we can talk about it until cow comes home. Many things to do. Then we say, okay, I do all that. What does it mean? It means you get the adhikaratvam. Adhikaratvam means the essential qualification to be what you want to be. That is a knower of oneself. So that is what we start in the Tattva Bodha, that I want to be a qualified person. So in the recapping, if I can just go back to the screen. I don't know why. Yeah. So we saw, firstly, the qualification. The 13, 14 text paragraph taught us about Viveka, Vairagya, Shatsampati, Mokshu, Mukshutvam. All this quality you build. They are not studied and thrown away. That is the abhyasam that we need to follow. So always you go back, how to develop Vairagyam, Viveka. So that we completed. So we have taken the how to implement in ourselves. Then we look at the Tattva Vicara. So we said, know about Atma Kaha. We asked the question, who am I? Because I am the happiness by nature. So who am I? So if we've gone through that a long session, maybe 6-7 sessions, about who I am not first, because who I am not is what is dominating. So that's called anatma. So we then studied about the body is not me. Then the body is sliced into three parts. The experiences are not me. The belongings not me. And then I am told that I am Sat Chit Anandam. The last part didn't baffle me because my motivation is I am the Anandam. That's what I've been told to pursue. But it also gave me two other names, Sat and Chit. Sat means existence. Chit means all-knowing. So I am forever existence. In one stroke, my fear of death is gone. Of course, it depends on how much Shraddha you put in. You see, Shraddha is we have Shraddha in many things in life. Technology, for example. I mean, we use the Apple phone, okay, or iPhone or WhatsApp. And so we want to, see, technology is a great tool, but it erodes the value of science in a way. It doesn't give you a scientific view of life. You don't want to know how the cell phone works. I press a button, message goes from my phone to the router, to the network, to the satellites, all happens in a nanoseconds. So much of science is there. What's the point of knowing all this? How I can do this one? So that's fine. So technology allows you to take a step, standing on somebody's shoulders and get the rest step. Why you do that? Because you have Shraddha onto the science. Very easily you get, somebody tells you, you press the button, something will happen to your phone, do something good. You blindly do it, and you even forward it to 1,000 people in 1 minute because you enjoy forwarding messages. How? You have a Shraddha. But if you put a portion of the Shraddha in Vedantic text, it will liberate you from studying very hard. You are not going to sit in the exam and answer the question about Sukshma Sarira and the components, because you want to evolve. So if you are able to have the Shraddha that what is told in the Vedanta, I believe in it, I have committed to this, then you get to technical application. You can start applying it to evolve. But if you take a position of intellectual scrutiny that I want to inquire about it, then I'm afraid you have to know the science. Therefore, you need to really understand. That's the reason why many people in Vedantic discourses, they don't have Shraddha, but they have an intellectual hunger. So they pick up the points which gives them an argument to fight against. They argue, waste the time, waste everybody's time. So I'm giving an excuse here. So even if you don't understand the technical part of it, in everything comes with a conclusion. If you have faith in yourself and the Shraddha, the conclusion is a building block to take it forward. So that is some comfort to give you that. Okay, we studied this one. So we know about the microcosm, Andam, and the Pindam, the macrocosm. Now we are getting into the important part. Well, this is all so many things to know. How does it solve my problem? My problem is to be free of fear, free of anger, free of despair, disdain, grief. So Vedanta tells you, you want to be in a place where you have no fear, no grief, complete peace. Then that is possible only if you know that there is nobody else to compete with you. There is nothing other than you. You may say, look, I am in the darkness, I feel fear. You see darkness as other than you. If there is everything is you, where is fear? Where is grief? What do you need to desire? You may say that will be very boring, right? Then we do an application now. Is that right? I want many people around me because it is not boring, but I want to be happy. Then I don't see anybody different from me. I see the unity and diversity. That is easily said than done. How can I see, I talk to somebody and he says a word which hurts me. Immediately the person is away from my radar for a while. So then you go back and say, look, that hurt comes because I see difference. Why I see the difference? Because I have an ego. See, I see difference because I limit myself. You are there and you hurt me. And I say the hurt comes because I see you different. The reason I see it different because I end somewhere here and you start somewhere there. I am limited. So anybody who hates anybody openly declares that that person is very limited. More hate you have, more limited you are. But the moment you are limited, you are entrapping yourself. You are not mukshunam anymore. You are a bandhat. You are going into samsara. So therefore, limitlessness is what you need. Now there is an insight what I'm saying. So if I need to shed my limitations, perceptual limitations, psychological limitations, you may say in your mind, okay, you can say anything, Raja, but I am limited because I am a weak person. Then Vedanta says, so throw away the body consciousness. The body is limiting you. So this is what we are getting into. So if I am going to have limitlessness of myself, although I say in an example that we can live in the world happily, it's not an example, it is a fact that you are limitless, I am limitless. But this is a very shocking statement because, one of these very profound seer says, he's basically Darshana saying, how can these Vedantis talk about, like an insect, I'm an insect, like, how can I be equal to Hari in Vaikuntha who is doing everything? How can I be equal to him? You can never be equal to him. As long as you see yourself as the insect. When you are limiting yourself, you can't see him. So we need a knowledge to be limitless. Again, some people say, okay, I know where you are going. You are taking me to the Vedanta where everything is one. No, I would just pray to God. God will take care of me. God will grant me everything what I need, all happiness. So did Durva, so did the Dwarapalakas. God sent them out, right? You have a misnomer there, get down to the world. Narada was so happy. Then he was disillusioned. He was praying to God all the time. He goes to Vyasa, what can I do? So you need to have the jnanam. Bhagavan says in Gita, Desham satata yuktanam bhajadam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam da yene ma payanti. Yes, you pray to me. When you pray to me, I would give you the buddhi yogam. I would give you the knowledge so that you can be one with me. Bhagavan says, everywhere he talks about being good, devote to me, surrender to me. But here he says in the chapter 10, verse 10, that when you surrender to me, I'll give you the jnanam. That means he's going to give you the guru, he's going to give you the satsangam, he's going to create an inquest in you to inquire about yourself. Because after all, you are his nature. He is your nature. Now this truth, if somebody can declare it openly, they are called dhiras. The Upanishad seers are dhiras. They declare, yes, aham brahmasmi. It's not said with any arrogance. with absolute reverence. So this Advaita Anubhuti is what going to be open now. So it is a very profound discussion we're going to have. So I can still build some more backup before we get into this verse itself. The verse is very simple and it doesn't give you all these gaps. So we need to fill up the gaps. So where do we stop? Where did we stop in the last class? Evam Pinda Brahmanda Aikyam Sambhutam. Pinda means the microcosm. We studied about the Pinda. Sthula Sariram, Sukshma Sariram, 17 parts of Sukshma Sariram or 19 parts of Sukshma Sariram. Then we studied the Brahmandam. What is the Brahmandam? Sthula Prabhanjam, Sukshma Prabhanjam, Karana Prabhanjam, how the Maya comes into play. So we have the Sukshma Sariram, Sukshma Prabhanjam, Sthula Sariram, Sthula Prabhanjam. Everything is inert. And then the teacher basically said one sentence, Pinda Brahmanda Aikyam Sambhutam. He said, the pindam, this body, the physical body of the human or any beings, any Jiva-Rasi, is same as the world. How does he say that? So Pinda and Brahmanda. Remember, the Vedanta, our focus of study, Vedanta is always good in grouping everything, compartmentalizing them, giving them a very easy spoon feed. It divided the whole universe or everything in the world, including God, for our study into 3 topics. Jiva, that is yourself. Jagat, everything else other than you. And the Ishvara. So if you study all these 3, if you know all these 3 completely, you are a Sarvajna. How can one learn everything else? Why is that Vedanta giving a false promise like this? It is going to give you, again, a shortcut. Technology, not the science. You can do something by which you don't need to know everything, but you can become knower of everything else. If you remember, we discussed in the 12th class of the Vedantic introduction that it's about effect and cause. I can study the effect, but there are innumerable effects, but I can instead go to the cause and study the cause. But every cause in a chain is an effect of another cause. Therefore, instead of dwelling into every effect, my first focus is on finding out the root cause. In life, in every engineering problem, it's called a root cause analysis. You analyze the problem. When there is a problem, you don't solve the problem where the problem happened. That is symptom cure, like many of the allopathic medicine. You go to the root cause of the problem, you pacify the symptom, you address the root cause. So Vedanta gives you an option that, okay, you can study the effect. That means study about everything. It's about every god, every temple, every form, every poetry of every saint. Yeah, you will keep on studying forever. Or you can say, what is the cause of those effects? What made a poet write those statements? What made this particular formation of God? What is God? Why it is made? So you go to the cause. So therefore, when you study Jiva, we study the Jiva's cause. We study the Jagat, we study the Jagat cause. Because we know effect is cause plus Nama, Rupa, Guna, transformation. In mathematics, it's called an operator. X squared. Squaring is an operation. If you want to go to the root of it, you do the root of this thing. So inverse the operator. So like in science, very easily you can go forward with an operator, forward operator, return back with a return operator. So Vedanta asks you to return back. So I'm digressing, but let me just go on. So Jiva and Jagat we saw. And then in the lesson so far, and the sentence above tells you the same thing. Evam, only the Pinda, Brahmanda, Aikyam, Sambhutam. The Brahmandam is Jagat. In the Jiva, there's a Pindam part. Sambhudam, Aikyam, Sambhudam. Oneness has come. Actually, we studied, we understood that one. What is the oneness? That is, all those inert part, Stula Sariram is nothing but Stula Pravanjam. Sukshma Sariram nothing but Sukshma Pravanjam. Karana Sariram nothing but Karana Pravanjam. One is individualized, other one is universalized. One is individual person, other one is a totality. But they're exactly the same. We don't need to waste any more time. So we know that this body that I have is the world. So if I see my body, I see the world. If you really go into microscopic way, the whole functioning of the body, the creatures inside, everything's like the world. That's why the biorhythm of the body is as per the world's change. For a better living, you look other way. Your body is the world. So if you go to the plant and then you pluck the flower, cut the tree, it's like as good as somebody's coming and plucking your finger. You must empathize. Of course, I must cut the tree. I must pluck the flowers. Have sensitivity. It is life. You ask permission to pluck it. So these are all certain fine things that you do because you understand Vedanta. Everything becomes reverential. Again, I'm digressing, but what I'm saying is we have studied Jiva and Jagat, Aikyam. We know most of the Jiva part. What are the most of the Jiva part? The Jiva is an Atma and Anatma. The Anatma is Jadam. Jadam is Jagat. But when you study the Jagat itself, we talked about the Maya, how the Ishvara came in, because we assume as of now, Ishvara creates his world. Therefore, by studying Jagat, I studied the creator of the world. Therefore, I also got a good understanding of Ishvara and Jagat. So everything in the world is Ishvara because, do you remember, we don't believe in existence of Ishvara and existence of a Prakriti separately. Then Ishvara becomes powerless. The Prakriti is come from the Ishvara Maya. Ishvara uses her own body to create the world. Therefore, the world is Ishvara. Therefore, when you study the world, you study the Ishvara. But we're not fully studied. We look at the inert part of it. So we finished all the Anatma study. Anatma is one. It is in Ishvara Maya, in the Jagat, in the Jiva. What is missing there is the Atma part, the Chaitanya part. Therefore, I still need to understand the Ishvara and Jiva. But then you say, I can't understand it. There are many, many Jivas in the world. I am not the same as Raj, or any two persons are not the same person. The tree is not the same as the cow. Even the cats, they're different cats. So Jivas are different. Jiva Beta. There are many Jada objects. The tree is not from same as the table. Every object is different. So you have, Vedanta talks about the 5 differences. Jiva Beta, difference between the two individuals. Jada Beta, difference between 2 objects. This is all common sense. I'm just trying to make you understand that we're talking nothing new. The Jiva Jada Beta, difference between me, what is Jiva, Chaitanya part, the conscious principle that I have against this computer. Then you take the difference between Jiva and Ishvara. Jiva Ishvara Beta and Ishvara Jada Beta. So you say, there are so much of differences in this world. Everything is different. So I am just a little dot in this. How can I be the Ishvara? So this is what we are going to study. So we will just read this text. So this is the Advaita Vedanta import in a nutshell. Take it forward. Don't worry about, I'm not Advaiti, I'm Dvaiti or Drishtadvaiti. All the differences are superficial. Here it is talking about how am I elevating myself to the Supreme. It is not a superlative adjective, it's not exaggeration. So why not we try for something which is the Supreme? Okay. So it says, Sthula Sarira Abhimani Jiva Namakam Brahma Pradibimbam Bhavati Sa Eva Jivaha Prakritya Swasmat Ishwaram Bhinnatvena Janati Avityobhati Atma Jivaha Iti Uchyate Maya Upati san Ishvaraha Iti Uchyate Evam Upadi Bedat Jiveshvara Beta Drishtihi Yavat Paryandam Tishtati Tavat Paryandam Janma Maranati Rupa Samsaro Na Nivartate Tasmat Karanat Na Jiveshvara Beda Buddhihi Svikarya. Okay. Very simple to understand. But before we go into the literal and the intellectual meaning of it, Lakshyartham of it, let us just have a little bit of recap. How much time I have? Okay. We are now going to park this Jagat for a while. Park the inert principle. Now we are going to understand what is Jiva. How is it Jiva can be equated to the Ishvara? Relationship is what is being taught about it. What is a relationship? Relationship between any two means, what does it mean? First thing, relationship means there are two things exist, is it not? Otherwise, there's no relationship. So if you're talking about Jiva-Ishvara relationship or Jivatma-Paramatma relationship, you simply say there are two things exist. So the Dvaitavada starts with this premises, therefore the whole Advaitam, Aikyam is relevant. Here we are talking about Aikyam is also relationship, but it is not two, it's one. You are not related to you, are you? You are not related to you. You are related to your wife, your mother, your father. But you are yourself. But why then the Aikyam is used? Because we are in the relative world. Everything is related to each other. You can't exist without relationship in this world. You can't even define yourself. Who are you? If you're not a Vedantic seeker, you define that, you say, I am his son, I am her husband. I am the employee of this company. You need desperately a relationship to hold on. That is why one of the biggest killing disease in COVID situation is the lack of expressive relationship. Nobody comes, nobody talks. Lockdown, isolation. I have everything. Food is there, money is there, but I feel stressed. So you want some noise. So of course you go and then you have electronic noise, you have WhatsApp, you have all these things. But actually what you're looking for is relationship, assurance. So when it is not coming out, your anger comes in, emotion comes in. So therefore we are related to the world. So relationship is very important. The Vedanta is taking you from the relationship to the one Swatantra existence where you know that you alone exist. For the Aikyam is used as relationship. One more point I want to say here. This is not my script, but I think it comes to my mind. I want to say this. So this knowledge that we are now discussing, you can write it down. All this you can do. You can go to hundreds of teachers. You can get all the knowledge. You would not get the desired outcome without your effort and the grace of God, but can be all in one said, your effort. Because even if you pray to God, somebody asked a question last week, you say karma is a karma palan, but God can change this thing. When I pray to God, they say, mantram says, if I do this 10 times, my papa is diluted, I get benefit. So God can override the karma. No, how can you override the karma? He is the lawmaker. The judge can override his own judgment. It is wrong. But what we forget to say, when you do a prayer to God, what are you doing? You're doing an action. You're doing a karma. Prayer is a karma. So when somebody says, do this mantra, you do the worship, you will get elevation from this problem. They are asking you to do a karma for which the palan, the prayojanam is much bigger. Therefore, you do the karma. So everything we do in this world is karma. Karma, karma. Upasana is karma. Puja is karma. But when you come to Vedanta, you get jnana. For that, what kind of jnana? It's called aproksha jnana. You remember the discussion we had many class back? Anything you get is called pratyaksham, with your senses. Aksham means generally eye, but it means your senses. So pratyaksham means pratyaksham, in front of the eyes, in front of your ears. What you hear, it's a kind of knowledge, it comes to you. The mediation is done by your 5 senses. It looks like it's immediate, but of course it goes through a process. Mind is needed, intellect is needed. It's called pratyaksha pramanam, pratyaksham. If it is not in front of your eyes, what is the word for Sanskrit? Para means, one of the meaning is other. Paraksham, paroksham means beyond my eyes or through somebody's eyes, somebody's hearing, I get the knowledge. That is paroksham. So paroksha jnanam is your inferences, anything else, reading from a book, somebody told you. So you have the pratyaksham and a paroksham. Paroksham is also in distant away. But all this needs a media. But there is something which does not need media, does not need the senses, does not need the mind, does not need the intellect to know. Direct mediacy. That's called aparoksham. Aparoksham means not indirect. Aparoksham. What can be that which is just like that comes through? There's only one. Not even God. You should know it now. That is yourself. To know you, the I, you don't need anything. Your mind, your intellect, nothing is needed. Mind is needed to express that feeling, but you don't need to have the mind. You don't need to have the senses. You don't need to have any knowledge. You don't need the guru. It's called ajabajapam. The I is always there. Aparoksham. Now, When you are talking about Atma, about I, therefore, what is my little blabbering going to help you? What is all the textbook going to help you? It may give you many tool sets, but it has to come aparoksham. So keep that in mind. So therefore, the questions, the doubts you come to you, write it down. Don't let any doubts go away. Write it down. You will solve it yourself, or we'll solve it later day. But towards the journey towards the aparoksha anubhuti. So quick recap on the jivatma. Jivaha. Right now, every jiva rasi is every life being. We are self-centered. We're talking about ourselves. So is it jivaha? It's about yourself. So just put your name there. You are. I am. We start with the equation. I am the sarira. I am the body. Right? We all started with this. I am the body. We still have an identity of the body. It is essential identity because not everybody understands the Vedanta in this world. I can't live with the Vedanta alone. It's a duality exists. Therefore, I need a body. Therefore, even though I say the body is I, now we know this is not correct because when I am dead, people say this is Raja's body, right? So this body cannot be me. So I must be the body plus the consciousness, the chit. Therefore, I now modify my equation. I am this body and my consciousness, the chit. You may think, what is this consciousness? Just now I am conscious about you are teaching, I'm listening, I am here, I am doing this, I am looking at my WhatsApp message. Whatever you are doing now, you are aware, this is conscious. Are you talking about the consciousness? Sadly, no. This is what you're going to study now. That is a consciousness that is manifested with a mind that animates this. We used the word, a different word before, called the Sukshma Sarira. What we did the body into Sthula Sarira and Sukshma Sarira. Because we are now moving away from the inert part. So the body is Sthula Sarira plus Sukshma Sarira. The body is in the equation. It means nothing. You can drop it, might as well, because the jiva is going to get many, many bodies in every birth. Therefore, in this birth, the body is okay with the equation. But in the future birth, it is my Sukshma Sarira, subtle body, with the consciousness reflected. It's called Chidabhasa. That's a jiva. All this we discussed, so I'm just recapping it. Therefore, I replace the gross body with just a notional self. I don't give importance to it. Jiva Bhava. This is my hand, therefore this is me. But I attribute towards a subtle form of body called Chidabhasham. The Chidabhasham is the Sukshma Sarira, the Antakarana, with the consciousness. They call it reflected consciousness. It's a very loaded word. Let's take one step at a time. So the equation should be very simple for you. Please follow this and hope that you understand. So we just modify it a little bit better. Therefore, Jiva is the Chidabhasham, because now you know the Sukshma Sarira is not by itself. There is a cause for it. There's a causal body, Karana Sarira, and it is called avidya, ignorance, because he does not know. In the deep sleep, everything is gone. Therefore, I would like to define myself, ignoring the gross body. I am the Chidabhasha, which is the notional self, the causal body, the avidya, plus the Chaitanyam. It's called Chitakasha. Chitakasha is like the sun. Chidabhasham is like the reflection sun in the water. So because if the Chitakasham is not there, it's also called Kudastham. Because when you talk about the pure consciousness in me. So when I talk about chit, therefore, I refer to the chitakasham, kudastham. The notional self, chidabhasham, is the one thinks, oh, I am aware of this lecture, I am listening to this, I am thinking. This awareness, this consciousness, this manifested consciousness, the reflected consciousness is chidabhasham. It is manifested in the avidya. Therefore, I can visualize this in a way. This chitakasham, the kudastham, or the atma, is looking into the avidya. Imagine avidya is a bucket of water. The light, chitakasham, looking into this avidya, the bucket of water. The water is the mind, the sukshma sarira. Then it reflects. When it reflects, the reflected light become animated with chitabhasha. Lots of questions come to mind. Hold it. But what you need to understand the elements of this equation. Chitakasham, kudastham, whatever Bhagavan calls kudastha in chapter 2. The consciousness in the jiva, the pure consciousness jiva, the light, is lightening all the bodies, the causal body, sukshma body, everything. The causal body is the avidya. The sukshma body is the subtle body. Therefore, you get animated. So this is my jiva. Now, it should give you, therefore, this jiva, the general equation, when it is applied to jiva 1, to jiva 2, to jiva infinity, there will be a variance in the manifestation. Why? The chitakasham is no different. But the body is different. The body of a goat, the body of a tree, the body of a human being, the body of an intellectual jnani. When I say body, it is the sukshma sarira and the karma sarira. It's different. Therefore, the light that illuminated there will have a different luster. Therefore, in the jiva bheda, I find an answer. The difference is not from the consciousness pure, but the embodiment. So in a different way, if you want to use the text, you can call it reflected consciousness, imposed by ignorance, the pure consciousness. The word reflected sometimes gives the meaning of a reflection of a light. Then there's a refraction, all that is there. The science comes in there. The example is unnecessarily labored, but it is being used by many seers and many translators. Swami Dayananda uses manifested consciousness. I like to use chidabhasham all the time, so that it's easier. So chit plus chidabhasham, based on the ignorance, is the jiva. So there are three things we need to know. Chit is chaitanyam. Chidabhasham is a reflected one. The avidya is the reflecting medium. Now we know that, therefore, the limiting coming from the reflecting medium. You see where we are going? We are trying to dissect into small chunks so that we can get out of the mess. So the first two part is entrapped in avidya. Remember, what is avidya? Avidya is not knowing all this. Why am I not told that I am not the physical body? Why am I naturally born with the sense that I'm not this body? I'm anything outside. That is avidya. The pure consciousness is atma. So therefore, jiva, the word jiva is also used sometimes, jivatma. So jiva, jivatma, everything is the same. It is basically an embodiment powered by the Atma. The power is reflected in a reflected consciousness. The embodiment thinks it is by individual, by itself. It acts like a bommalatam, like the puppeteer show. We also saw the Jivatma has gone through, in a different way, look at it, experiences. Instead of looking at the body, we look at the experience of the body. We saw a Sthula Sarira gives you the waking state, using all the bodies. The dream state is Sukshma Sarira. The deep state, Karna Sarira. So the Jivatman also have 3 different names, general names. Vishva, that you and I call Vishva, no gender, Vishva. When the gross body is not operating, the ignorance is limited to the Sukshma body, but we still create a world. You see, something we keep in mind, we'll discuss it later. In any, no matter what kind of dream you have, in every dream, have you ever dreamt somebody is dreaming in your dream about you? No. You always the perceiver. Even in your dream, even you see yourself born, bred, grown, died, whatever you do, but you are the perceiver. So that, remember this, who is this seeing the dream, in the dream itself? Taijasa, and we talked about this deep sleep. You sleep, nothing is there, but you know that you slept well. Therefore, somebody is watching the sleep, that you're sleeping well. Otherwise, you have no way of knowing this. So we gave 3 different names, Vishva, Taijasa, Prajna. And somebody is watching all this. You want to give a name, you can give it Turiya, but let's not do that. It's Atma that is seeing all this. Therefore, the Jiva or Jivatma can have multiple names, multiple roles. Simply it is Chaitanyam reflecting in ignorance, creating an animated being. So far, be a technologist, don't go to science of it. If you want to go to science, you have to go back to the previous sessions, read through all this, exercise, or if you want to build on it, take this for granted. You move forward, that I am an animated being when I consider myself this bodily existence in this world. My animation is partial, limited, because it is animated on the pool of avidya. Why the avidya came in, a different question. I don't know the answer for it, but I know it is. Now, change the scene. We are talking about Ishvara now. We talked about the Ishvaras in the form of a world. We discussed that Ishvara is a creator of the world. World cannot come out of different objects. It has to come from the Ishvara. Therefore, when you study this Sthula Prabhanjam, Sukshma Prabhanjam, Karana Prabhanjam, like we studied Jiva, we studied Ishvara. Therefore, without going through all these iterations that I did for Jiva, which you can do as an exercise, we can say Ishvara is therefore, it is got a Chaitanya part. Because if I go and worship a rock as Shivalinga or a Vigraha as the Urchava Murti of something, it is inert. But I know, I figured it out that this is a manifestation, a symbolic of omniscience. Therefore, there is a Chetanam part and a Chetanam part, a Chit and a Chit. A Prakriti and Purusha. In different schools of thought, say differently. So for our convention about how we are learning right now, I equate it similar to the Jiva. You might already notice why I'm doing this, because we are going to change LHS equals RHS, left-hand side equal to right-hand side of the 2 equations. We're going to bring Jiva-Ishvara Aikyam. So the Ishvara equation, therefore, can be said as It is Ishvara, is the Parabrahman. Again, call it a consciousness. Remember, when you say Atma, Parabrahman, Brahman, Ishvara, all the same. So, but we see that it comes as an inert part, inert sentiency, mixed part, so many different worlds, so many different things. But all this is because seeing through Maya. I give you a little visioning exercise so that it will be helpful for us. So the Parabrahman, for whatever reason, this is the reason that we cannot question. That's why we call it a Leela. Its power gave it a dream. You can imagine the Parabrahman as Lord Narayana is lying down and is having a divine sleep. For us, the dream comes because of our avidya. We can't go to bed. I can't go to bed and say, tonight I'm going to dream a fantastic dream. I can't do that. I have no, because I am a different person. Taijasa, somebody else come in. So therefore, dream is given to us. Even some in Vasishta's Vedam, dream is considered as a karma. Because you in the dream affects you, your papas are going away. Because that's a different topic. So we are so limited. Even a dream we cannot do. Even a thought we cannot think. We already talked about it. So we are so limited because we are engrossed in the avidya. It should create more excitement to you, because if I'm so limited, how can you say I am the God? The puzzle expands more. So coming back to Narayana, he is sleeping. He is so powerful, so he can decide that I will dream. That Ichcha, that desire, we always see in God as desireless. That will that I see, that I dream. So right now we assume that that's how it happened. We'll come back to this question later. That will is a divine will. It's called Ichcha Shakti. Without the Ichcha Shakti, nothing ever happens. For us, the Ichcha Shakti has to have the Jnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti and the tools. If I want to be a millionaire, I can't be a millionaire. I need to do everything. I need to do work, Kriya, Karma. But Parabrahman Ichcha means done. Bible says, let there be light. There is light. So the Ichcha Shakti, the dream came in. That Ichcha Shakti in Vedantic perspective, we are seeing as Shuddha Maya. Dream is like a Maya. It's a good metaphor. So Narayana is sleeping, Parabrahma is sleeping. The dream, Maya Shakti. There's a Taijasa there, right? The dream is Taijasa. So we have to have the same equation there. So the God, when he looks into that Maya Shakti, if you look at Narayana, it's a Vishnu Maya. If you take a Shiva, Shiva is meditating, Shiva Maya, whatever, doesn't matter. The Parabrahma is looking into this Maya Shakti. In that, I use the word his, please, you can say her, so it doesn't matter, or it. Its reflection comes in. That is Ishvara. It's not Parabrahman, the Parabrahman's reflection, Ishvara, in the Maya Shakti. But the Ishvara is a controller of the Maya Shakti, because it is one will he appeared into the Maya. Therefore, it is one will he can take away from the Maya. So he has, therefore, once the Maya has got, we saw the three gunas. His power has got three gunas, because Aham Vritti it's called. We in Puranas hide all the secrets. Om Aham Padarthaya Sachidananda Paramatmane. It's one sloka is there. Aham Pada Arthaya. The meaning of the Aham. When the Ishvara Parabrahman says Aham, that meaning is Maheshwara. Then the Shakti came, the power came as Idham. The moment you say Aham, I, that means I created you, everything else. The Shakti came in, the Maya Shakti came in. Of course, Puranas God talks in a very different way, different school, different way, but doesn't matter. Then the Maya creates, the light comes in. Imagine the Maya is a pool of energy with Sattva, Rajas, Tamo gunas. The Sattva gunas reflection was the Ishvara. In Shaiva Siddhantam is called Shuddha Maya. Then the Rajas activates, Jiva comes in. The Tamas activates, the Prapancham comes in. We've gone through this in the last classes. Therefore, coming back to the equation, therefore, the Ishvara I see, or we refer, is the Parabrahman, the consciousness, seen through the Maya, reflecting the Sattva Guna. Is Ishvara. So, in the Jiva discussion, the reflected consciousness and the avidya is called ignorance, controlling us. Here it is called the Maya Shakti, the controller, the power of Ishvara. You can very clearly say, obviously it is more difference between Ishvara and Jiva. How can you be talking about Aikyam? So our puzzle expands more. The potency expands more. Then Vedanta tells you, look, we talked about the Parabrahman also, going through these three states, three prapanchas. We sleep every day. It's called Nitya Pralayam. What happens in the sleep? Everything is destroyed, assimilated into yourself, abides in you. Why you say abides in you? How can I say that everything abides in me when I go to sleep? It's because when you get up, it comes out of you. Pratyapajna it's called. That's why you are able to relate that, oh, I slept, this is my world. The Pratyapajna is not there, every day will be a new day for you. You just don't know memory. Samskara won't be there. Therefore, all my thoughts, all my good, bad, evil things I did today, it goes into me, hidden into me. I sleep, Nitya Pralayam. And the next day it comes out. Same way, Ishvara's dream happens, the dream everything happens. And then when he decides to wake up, the dream disappears, it becomes pralayam. Everything is abides in him. You see a very important insight here. I said, in our case, when you go to sleep, everything abides. In Ishvara's case, when he sleeps, everything comes out. When he wakes up, everything is destroyed. He alone stays. That's why when we sleep, Brahman is awake, Jnanis are awakened. There's a one beautiful Gita slogam. When the Ajnanis sleep, Jnanis are awakened. Many people give different example, different explanation for it. The true meaning is this. When you are creating the world happens in the dream of the Parabrahman. The Parabrahman is awakening. That's a true awakening. All the differences are gone. Parabrahman alone, Ekam Satyam, Advaitiyam. Then he dreams again. Krishna says in a very simple way to Arjuna that I have got the Aparaprakriti. Everything when it unmanifest comes into, abides in me. I create the pralayam. Everything comes into me. Then I recreate it. So again, Vedanta comes back and say, yeah, look at the comparison now. Stula Prapancham, Sukla Prapancham, Karna Prapancham. The scale is different. The power is different. there is similarities. So now you come to the sort of conclusion. Sorry, if I took 5 more minutes. So I come to the conclusion now, right, I can see the similarities. So the equation may be interesting to worthwhile. So probably I can consider how the Jiva-Ishvara Aikyam is proven. First of all, I didn't even consider that it's possible because they are two different things. Veda Shastram says, Dvaitam says, no, you can never be the God, never, you are completely different. Now we understand it is actually qualified to contemplation because, see, when you take an equation, I can say 5 is 5. Why should I have an equation? 5 is 5. The equation is stupid because I don't need to say an equation. But if I say 3 plus 2 is 6 minus 1, the equation got merit. Why? Because perceptually, what did they say? 4 plus 1, this side, 6 minus 1, perceptually the nama rupams are different. But the result is same. See, what I'm saying therefore is, before we dwell into the equation, the quality of the equation, should we have the equation worthwhile our contemplation? Is it the right fix? That's why I'm saying, yes, because you see similarities. Shuddha Chaitanyam, reflected consciousness, avidya on one side, maya on the other side, Ishvara on one side, Jiva on the other side, Stula Sukshma Karna Prabhanjam on one side, Stula Sukshma Karna Sariram on the other side. Similarities exist. Therefore, I can go to bed until the next week thinking that this equation is worth solving. At least I have some similarities to God. I'm going to stop it here now. I think it took 7 more minutes. So we will continue the next session. So I suggest that you revise this so that next session can be a little bit more subtle. So we close it now. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So may I ask Lakshmi Mami to share the Shanti part?
Namaskaram. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amardam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you.